Case feed.
Two men climbed a hill in broad daylight. They were dressed in expensive suits. Each carried a waterproof coat, a notebook, a bottle of water, and one strange object that nobody could explain. Hours later, they were both dead. There were no signs of violence, no signs of a struggle, no poison, no wounds, no robbery. Just two bodies lying side by side, wearing identical handmade lead masks over their eyes. Nearly 60 years later, no one knows exactly why they were there, what those masks were for, or what killed them. Don't start with the men's lives. Start with the discovery. Picture a quiet August afternoon in 1966. Morro do Ventém, a hill overlooking Rio de Janeiro, wasn't a place people normally visited unless they had a reason. It was steep, isolated, and surrounded by thick vegetation. From the neighborhoods below, it looked peaceful. That afternoon, a local teenager named Crescinda was flying a kite when she noticed something unusual near the top of the hill. Two figures, they weren't moving. At first, she assumed they were simply resting. But something didn't feel right. As hours passed, the figures remained exactly where they were. Eventually, adults climbed the hill to investigate. What they found would become one of Brazil's greatest unsolved mysteries. Two men lay side by side on the grass. They were dressed in expensive suits despite the heat. Each wore a waterproof raincoat. Beside them were a notebook, a bottle of water, towels, no blood, no signs of violence, no footprints suggesting anyone had fled, no indication that either man had tried to escape. It almost looked as if they had calmly laid down and simply never gotten back up. The question wasn't just what killed them, it was why they had climbed this hill in the first place. The victims weren't criminals, nor were they strangers. They were 32-year-old Miguel José Viana and 34-year-old Manoel Pereira Cruz, both electronics technicians from Campos dos Goitacazes. Friends described them as intelligent, hardworking men with a fascination for electronics. They repaired televisions and radios for a living. But that wasn't their only interest. Outside work, they spent countless hours experimenting with homemade electronic devices, radios, transmitters, electrical circuits. They believed technology could interact with forces science couldn't yet explain. That belief slowly drew them into Brazil's growing spiritualist movement. During the 1960s, Spiritism was flourishing across Brazil. Many groups believed advanced beings from other dimensions communicated with humanity through mediums. Some believed intense light could transport consciousness. Others believed UFOs were spiritual rather than extraterrestrial. Miguel and Manoel weren't simply curious observers. They immersed themselves in these ideas. Friends recalled conversations about invisible energies, higher beings, and strange scientific experiments that blurred the line between engineering and mysticism. Nobody imagined those interests would eventually lead them to a lonely hill outside Rio. On August 17th, the two men left home. They told their families they needed to purchase electronic supplies in Rio de Janeiro. Nothing seemed unusual. They carried a significant amount of cash, enough to buy equipment. But as the day unfolded, their actions became increasingly strange. In a local shop, they purchased waterproof raincoats. Odd, because the weather forecast predicted clear skies. Later they stopped at a bar near Morro do Ventém. The waitress remembered them well. One of the men appeared nervous. He repeatedly checked his watch. When asked if they needed directions, they politely declined. They ordered bottled water, nothing more. Then they began walking toward the hill. No one saw them alive again. Investigators searched every pocket. There was no farewell letter, no explanation, just one small notebook. Inside was a single handwritten instruction. 1630, be at the agreed location. 1830, ingest capsules. After effect, protect metals. Await signal. Mask. Only a few lines. Yet every sentence created another mystery. What capsules? What signal? Why protect metals? And what exactly were the lead masks supposed to protect them from? The masks themselves were astonishingly simple. Hand-cut from sheets of lead. No eye holes, no straps, just curved pieces of heavy metal shaped to cover the eyes. They weren't wearable in the conventional sense. They would simply rest over the face. Investigators quickly learned they resembled protective masks sometimes used by workers handling bright industrial furnaces. But Miguel and Manoel weren't welders, nor were they visiting an industrial site. So why bring them to a hill? One theory suggested they expected an incredibly bright flash of light, perhaps from an explosion, perhaps from an experimental device, or perhaps from something they believed would descend from the sky. This should have been a straightforward investigation. Instead, it became a disaster. The bodies remained exposed for hours before forensic teams arrived. Heavy rain washed across the hillside. Potential footprints disappeared. Possible chemical evidence was diluted. By the time autopsies were performed, the bodies had decomposed significantly. No poison could be conclusively identified. No internal injuries explained their deaths. Without preserved tissue, toxicology was severely limited. The investigation had lost its best chance of discovering the truth before it had truly begun. Nearly 6 decades have passed. Technology has transformed almost every aspect of forensic science. Countless cold cases have been solved through DNA, digital reconstruction, and modern investigative techniques. Yet the lead masks case remains frozen in time. We still don't know what was inside the capsules. We don't know why the men climbed the hill. We don't know why they wore lead over their eyes. And most importantly, we still don't know what killed them. Perhaps the strangest part of this story isn't the masks, or the cryptic note, or even the mysterious hill. It's that 2 ordinary electronics technicians left home one morning expecting to return and somehow became part of one of the world's most enduring, unsolved mysteries. Somewhere between the city below and the top of that lonely hill, the truth disappeared. And it may have disappeared forever.